Hi there, and welcome to my Prompt Maker app, where you can make amazing images with just a simple idea. Let's see how to get started generating prompt variations and using the image models quickly and easily after we sign in with our Google account. So I'm just going to sign in. I already have my API keys set up for all my vendors here. And if you click the little gear icon in the top left, you'll see that we can add API tokens for OpenAI, Google, HuggingFace, and Replicate to serve the different features that the app enables, and it's built directly to your account, so you don't have to worry about credits or monthly subscriptions, and you can cap each API key with a monthly limit, making it easy to make sure you don't go over your budget. So all my keys are already loaded, so I'm going to get started with a simple idea. I have a Portuguese water dog that I've loved for almost 17 years now, so I want a fun picture with a Portuguese water dog. Let's put together something. I'm just going to say I want it as a holiday card so that I can send it out to friends and maybe even use a different image to replace myself with in future edits. But let's just start with this. Now here I can adjust up to 10 variations. So I can generate either 1, 3, 5, or 10 quickly, or I can use the slider to generate any increment in between. Let's generate 6. It'll take a minute for the prompts to generate, and behind the scenes it's using Google's Gemini model to generate comprehensive, positive, and negative image prompts for the model to follow. Alright, our prompt variations are done. Now if we scroll down here, we'll see that we have variation 1 through 3 and 4 through 6, each with a positive and negative prompt. Now I'm not using the negative prompts in any of the image models, they're just there for your reference, especially if you want to use something like Midjourney, where positive and negative prompts make a big difference. Let's just take a look at how we can expand one of these fields by clicking and dragging the little arrow at the corner from the sidebar. Now you see we have a very detailed prompt that we can go in and we can edit this at any point that we want to configure it. We can copy it over to each other variation and make small edits to see how variations change with just words. Or we can run the different image models on all the prompts at once. So let's take a look at running something like GPT image 1. So when we select a model, we have all these models to select from. And each of them will need an API key up in your settings. So to enable Google models, you'll need the Google API key, to OpenAI models, etc. So let's go ahead and just choose GPT image 1, and you'll notice that we get some options to configure. We can configure the quality, I'll set it as high, and we can configure the dimensions. It's basically portrait, square, portrait, and landscape. Let's do some landscape ones or portrait ones so that I can use them as a cell phone lock screen. Now when we generate all images, it'll go through each of those prompts and generate images for each of them, allowing you to compare that model through each of those prompts. And then we can go back and do that for each of the other different types of image models and compare the results. It allows you to see how each image model is using the text that you generated. And when you're ready to modify it, you can just go in and edit each variation and run them all again and see how they changed. For me personally, I use this a lot with my blog, where I go and I create cover images using usually GPT, but all different models depending on my look and feel that I want to incorporate. And this way I can go in, I can generate image models or images very quickly with a variety of different models, which is pretty difficult to do in other apps. So this is a big productivity gain for me. It might take a few minutes for the images to generate, especially in something like OpenAI servers, which are very busy, but it's easier than copying and pasting, and you can just set this aside and wait for it to finish. In the meantime, while it's working, if you go and you click on the little open icon on the right of the select image model, it'll bring up the documentation for that image model. So you'll see the pricing, you'll see the speed, you'll see the performance. This is OpenAI, so it's very comprehensive. Things in HuggingFace or Replicate might not be as extensive as something like OpenAI. But you also have your tiers of usages and the costing for each of the different quality and dimensions. And you can see, even if I generate a high quality small image, 1 megabyte image, It's about 3.5 cents. That's a lot cheaper than the 25 cents for the main image model. Let's go ahead and scroll down and see what our results look like. All right, I have some great covers here. So I have all these images, and currently you see them as square, but they're actually portrait shapes. So let's go ahead and click on one of these. And you'll see, actually, that guy kind of looks like me. So it's the same build and a very similar face, but different hair. So, and that dog looks very similar to my puppy dog. So that's a very cute little cover that I can send around for the holidays. If we go back to the generator, we can go in and we can check out each of the other images. That's cute too. But you'll see how each of the prompts generate distinctly different images. Let's go ahead and try it with a different image model to show you how different they can be. So we're going to try one of the Tencent image models. This is a fantastic model for generating very photorealistic and high quality images. Let's go ahead, and we see that we have more image options here. Mainly we're going to go and look at the portrait right now, which was the same dimensions that we did with the GPT image model. We'll hit generate and wait for the results to come in. You'll notice that when I hit generate, all the images cleared out. They're not gone. I only did that so it's easy to see the set that's just being generated now, especially if you have 5 or 10 variations running all at once. But if you go back and you reload the page and go to your timeline, you can go and see all the images. Actually, let's just go ahead and do that while we're waiting. So over on the right-hand side, you see this little clock. If I click that, that's my prompt history, and it's saved to my account, which I can access anytime. Now I can delete the prompt and all the associated images. I can favorite it so that I can easily access it again. In fact, if I go to favorites, you'll see that I have a few that I access regularly that I put in there. Now we can also search for keywords. And find our history that way. So if we go back to the one that we just generated, we'll take away the Halloween keyword here. And you'll see that we have all of our images now from both models, from GPT and Tencent. So here's the Tencent images. Let's see how they did. Let's see, this one looks a little funky, right? I think his body's twisted weird. He might have some sort of dislocated hip or something. Well, that didn't turn out too great. Let's go look at another one. All right, this one looks even better. Although the dog's paws look like a little like a dinosaur. This one's cute and pretty. I like that one. But you'll notice the one thing that's really different between this and the OpenAI model is that there's no words on it. There's warm wishes here. It's done pretty well. But this Tencent model's not as good as the GPT model in rendering text. So when you compare models, you can get a sense of which ones are better at rendering different types of content, either artistic styles or text and graphics. Let's go back and pick maybe one that we like. Let's go back and hit our timeline and click on the one that we were just viewing so that we have access to all of our images. And now you'll notice that we can compare image 6 or variation 6 prompt with different models. So I have the GPT image one, and then I have the Tencent model one, and there's a pretty big difference, right? If I click onto the page, each variation will be loaded under the same account so that you'll see all the variations easily. Now, my kitty cat is coming through. This is my kitty cat girl. Say hi, Lou. Hi, Lou. We love you. All right, this looks pretty nice. This was generated with GPT Image 1 Mini. We see that this was variation 6, and we also see the quality and dimensions. Now, let's say I want to make one of these images even better quality. I like this one, so I can upscale this using one of the upscaling models, and I have my choice of upscale models. So upscaling takes a smaller size image and makes it considerably larger. It can make it up to like 40 megabytes now, which is a very large image and can be very high quality, almost on the level of photograph quality. So let's go ahead and hit image upscale and see how one of these upscale models works. When I click on it, I get access to different models. I see a bug I already have to fix here where the image or where the text is not colored correctly, but I will fix that momentarily. Let's use the Recraft Crisp upscale, just because there's no options to configure on this one, so it's a really easy upscaler to use. Once I click processing, it's going to go in the background and process. Now all this is done server-side, whether it's the generation of the prompts, whether it's the generation of the images, the upscaling, or the background removal. And that means that I can close this window and come back later, and those images will be in my account. I can just go to my timeline, click on that history, and there I'll have it. So let's look. Here's variation 1. This is the original image, and then this is the upscale image. So let's go ahead and download the first image, and I can see it's 3 megabytes. And let's download the second image. And I can see it's 9.2 megabytes. So roughly 3 times the size increase. And you can see that this is a considerable difference, right? It's a pretty clean, I wouldn't say it's a photograph quality, but it's getting close. It's certainly on high-end camera phone quality now. And that's just simply by pressing 2 buttons. We have a beautiful poster we can use to send around for the holidays or for anything else we want to experiment with. And if we have something that we can remove the background, like you're creating decals for stickers, or you're creating images like this one that I put on this t-shirt using this app, you can remove the background in one click and then upscale the image. Basically, it gives you the flexibility to try out a lot of different features very quickly without having to juggle apps. It's a way for me to dive into exploring new image models and new prompts quickly and securely without having to worry about credits or subscription fees on other outside apps. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Till next time, I'm Josh, and this is the Prompt Maker app.